I'd like to talk about a problem I faced with container builds in the past and a potential solution. So basically the problem is you rerun your Docker build or you reapply your Kubernetes YAML and it no longer works, even though it was perfectly fine the last time. And it's because the images your configuration is pointing to have changed, i.e. you now pull on different versions of the images. Now I hit this most when I come back to a project after a few months, but it can really happen at any point. Now let's take a look at an example so we can really understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so I have a Docker file here, and at the moment it's broken. It does build, but if I run it, we get an error. And the reason is that the version of Python has changed since it was first built. So if we look at the Dockerfile, we can see it's a multi-stage build where the build step is using this latest dev tag. So that's a completely up-to-date image with build tool inside it. But the runtime part uses this Python tag at the Python latest at a specific digest, which in this case refers to an image from a few months ago. Now, if we change this to use the current latest, rebuild it, and run it, it does work. But because both images are the latest versions, they can change at any point and break again. And if someone else runs this build, there's no guarantee that it's going to work. What we should really do is pin both images to digests that we know will work together. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to use this Frizbee tool from Stacklog. So if I run Frizbee on an image, it will go to the registry and ask for the current digest for a tag and update the Dockerfile with the new tag. So if I run Frizbee image -n to say dry run and then Dockerfile, which is the file we're interested in, we can see what it's done here. And our latest dev now has this SHA hash, which is the current SHA hash of the latest dev image. And our Python latest has changed to this SHA hash. So that's perfect. We know these two images will work together. And we can output this. And build it again. And this should run. Let's just call it the same thing. Yes. Okay, so now I have a Docker file with exact image versions that I know will work. But even better, the Python dependencies are specified in this requirements.txt file. And they have exact versions. So I'm actually pretty confident that if I come back to this build in, say, a year's time, it's still going to work, with the assumption that the images and the packages are still available to be downloaded. Now, you don't want to be running versions of software that are a year out of date in production, obviously, as you're going to find you're missing important security updates on your scanners, and maybe even your security team are going to start shouting at you. So you need to update and test your Docker file periodically. Now, you can script the solution with Frizbee, but there's also Digestabot from Chainguard. So Digestabot is a GitHub action that will run regularly and open a PR to update your image references if it finds they're out of date. What both of these options give you is a high level of reproducibility along with a simple update mechanism that gives you control over how and when changes are applied. So please take a look at Frizbee and at Digestabot and let me know how you get on.